Good morning and welcome to another Morning Math with Audrey episode with your girl Audrey Codner, and I'm the owner of Math by Audrey. I've never said my name so many times in a matter of seconds. So what we do here is I basically help those that are about to go back to school, maybe those 25 plus, but also I can also help current students as trying to have some kind of relationship with algebra. Like you don't have to marry it, you don't have to date it, just give it a kiss on the mouth once in a while. So what I mean by I break a lot of concepts that a lot of people either have missed thoughts or kind of remembered it the wrong way. So when you clarify yourself and give yourself that practice, now you're able to apply it. And that's when you're going to get your scores going up. That's what happens, guys, because right now you're trying to take an exam based on information that you learned years ago, and you're like, I'm not even sure if that was right back then. So if you are coming in here for the first time, hi, welcome. So what today we're going to do is we're going to look at the evolution of solving an equation. So I try to take some of the steps that usually a lot of people generally miss. So what we're going to do, we're going to do it right now. Okay, so hopefully you're ready for me. All right, so we are looking at how things evolve when it comes to solving equations. When you're trying to solve the equation, let me come to my steps a little bit here. The goal is to isolate the variable. Okay? Whatever the variable is, it could be X, it could be Y, it could be Z, it could be any letter of the alphabet, but the thing is, it can't be E or I, because E and I are actually numbers. But we need to get that variable by itself. And the way that we do it is we do what's called the inverse. So the inverse is also known as your opposites. So like the inverse of addition is subtraction, and vice versa. So the inverse of division is multiplication, and vice versa. So we have to do the inverse in order for us to reach our goal, which is isolating the variable. So we're going to start off nice and simple. Hello, Susan. How are you? Okay, we're going to start off nice and simple, just to kind of get our brains up and moving. You know, you can't just roll out of bed and start running a marathon. Unless you were like me this morning when we had a major rainstorm, and all of a sudden, thunder cracked right outside my window. Yeah, the heart just kept pumping. It was very fun. All right, so we have x plus 4 is equal to 13. Like I said, we're going very simple, and we're going to evolve. All right, it's going to get difficult, a little more challenging, but I'm here to help you. Hello, user 21. How are you? See you in there. So, x plus 4 equals 13. So we want to get x by itself. So that means if we look at the equal sign, it's almost like there is a barrier. It's almost like a little mini wall. So in order for us to get x by itself on this side of the equal sign, we have to do the inverse. So the inverse of what? Not the 13, but the inverse of this positive 4. Okay, because the plus 4 is on the same side of the equal sign with the x. So the inverse of positive is negative. So positive 4 and negative 4 will give us our 0. But we don't need the 0 because we still have the x to bring on down. So if you want to put it like this, you can. Okay, so we don't need that 0 as a placeholder. But now we need with 13 minus 4, which gives us 9. Okay, the one mistake that a lot of people generally do, I want to say probably like a good 64%, they would move the 13 over. But if I move the 13 over, there's not going to be anything on this side. Okay, so we always want to even things out. All right, it's almost like if you're lifting weights on a bench, you don't want to have a 45 plate on one side and then a 10 plate on the other. You're going to tip over. And I hope you don't, perish. Okay? So that's 1. Let me slide over. Let's get our example number 2. So we have okay, so for example 2, we have 4x equals 18. Okay, 4x equals 18. Alright. First thing we have to understand, 4x, if I don't see a plus or a minus sign in between the 4 and the x, that means I can assume this is multiplication. In order for me to get x by itself, I need to do the inverse, which is divide. You ever date anybody that's super clingy and then you're just like, you know what, this is not working, so what do you gotta do? You gotta divide them out your life. You don't. Alright, so 4 divided by 4, this is not going to give us a 0. It's actually going to give us a 1. But 1x and x, they mean the same thing. Okay? Because there's physically 1x there. So the 1 is always assumed to be there. So when you're solving this, you don't have to divide both sides by 1 because you end up getting the same answer. So what you can do is skip here to go to here. So 4 divided by 4 will give us 1x, or just simply x. Now 18 divided by 4, not so much an even number. If it was 16, it would be 4. But now we have to kind of like divide it. So we can do this one of two ways. We can keep it as 18/4, and we could reduce it and leave it as a fraction, because sometimes they ask you to leave your answer as a fraction. So 18 and 4, they're both even numbers. So if they're even numbers, they're either going to be able to be reduced by 2 or they're able to be reduced by 4. But it's got to be a number that both the 18 and the 4 are associated with, which is 2. So I'm going to divide my numerator by 2 and divide my denominator by 2. Okay, so 18 divided by 2, that gives me 9. And 4 divided by 2, that gives me 2. Okay, so we have our 9 halves. Okay, you can't escape algebra. You're so right, Edward. Can't escape it, all right? But if they ask for this as a decimal, that's when you divide, okay? So they might answer it like this, which is a improper fraction. But if I need it to be a proper fraction, you're actually going to divide. So you're going to say to yourself, how many groups of 2 can give me close to 9 without going over? So I know 4 groups of 2 will give me 8. Right? So when I subtract 9 minus 8, that gives me 1. So we can look at this as my 4 with the remainder, which always goes over the divisor. That's how you go from an improper fraction to a mixed number. Now if I want to go from a mixed number to a decimal, 1/2 is equivalent to 0.5. Okay? So all 3 of these, even though they're in 3 different forms, are giving you the same result. Okay, 9/2 is your improper fraction, 4/2, that's your mixed number, and 4 and 5/10, the proper terminology of saying 4.5, that's your decimal. Okay, all right, I earn a follow. Thank you, one less guy. All right, So this is what's happening when you're doing that. It all started with knowing that we have multiplication. We had to do the division in order to simplify to get our possible 3 answers. Okay? You need help with fractions? Everyone does, and I get you. All right? It's been a hot minute, Kathy. I see you. But I'm glad that you're here. All right? So let's try another one. And you guys can tap if you want to tap, if you like how everything is going. You can continue to tap while I do work. Okay? Or while we do work. I'm not trying to take all the selfishness. All right? So, for example, 3. So let's take a look at this one. So like we said, we need to crawl before we can walk. Now, if this is way too easy for you, you're like, oh my God, I'm bored to death. You didn't have to stay. No one said, you have to watch every video that comes on here on TikTok. Now you know, okay? But I appreciate it. As long as we keep it honest, this is a safe space, okay? Hey, Fritz Prime, how are you? There you go. So now, we have, and I know some people's heart kind of skipped a beat as soon as they saw this fraction bar. Now, this is what you got to remember. When you have a fraction, that is division. So you have your x divided by 5. Now, what is the inverse of division? So the inverse of division is multiplication. And what are we going to multiply on both sides? Whatever the denominator is. Because remember what our goal is. We're trying to get x, which happens to be my numerator. We're trying to get x by itself. So whatever my denominator is, that's what I'm multiplying on both sides. Because if I write this out, this is what's happening. You're actually going to have that 5, and it's going to be an x, oops, wrong color, over 5 is going to equal our negative 3 times 5. This left-hand side is basically saying you're doing 5x. They're multiplying the 5 with that numerator. So now, if you want to simplify, you can go right ahead. So 5 divided by 5 will actually give us 1x. But we said earlier, 1x and x is the same exact thing. So now, we got negative 3 times 5. So negative 3 times 5 will give us, as many of you guys are writing, my negative 15. Okay? These are all called one-step equations. The reason why, all we had to do was one thing. In order to get x by itself here, we had to subtract 4. That's one step. In order to get x by itself here, we had to divide. That's one step. In order to get x by itself here, we had to do one step, which was multiply. Okay? These is making you miss math. Okay? So those are your one-step equations. Now we're going to take it a step further. How are we feeling? Okay? Are we feeling okay so far? Okay? Once you feel overwhelmed, just take a pause. Okay? Right now, the test is not happening today. We're trying to go through the steps, and plus, I'm expecting you guys to make mistakes because guess what? A lot of you guys haven't seen this since forever. Alright? If you don't use it, you tend to lose it. So now I'm trying to repump it back in your brain. Okay? So let's take a look at 5 minus x is equal to 12. Now this simpler problem usually gets about a good 80, I think what it said, 87, hold on. Yep, 89% people generally get this wrong. 89%. And this is considered, if you're taking your GED, this will be considered like a this will be considered like a 2-point problem. Okay, most of the solvings are. No more, please. You didn't have to stop. Take one. Now that you commented, now I'm on your algorithm. What's up, cousin? Okay? So, I'm seeing different things. You're getting your brain prepared for school. Awesome. That's what I'm saying. Now, if you ever want to do more of these, I do have practice books that I am going to introduce. Just wait till close to the end. All right. So, I saw actually four different answers. I saw a positive 2, I saw a negative 2, I saw an expression, I'm seeing a 17. Okay, now I got 5 different answers. Now, this is what gets a lot of people. We want to get x by itself. So a couple things usually happen. A lot of people think that this minus sign is attached to the 5. And what they do is, oh, let me add 5 on both sides. Okay? No. This minus sign is acting as a negative for the x. Okay? Notice how I said it. This minus sign is acting as a negative for the x. Your signage is always in front of the number. When I say in front, I mean to the left. So that means if I may come up here, notice that this was a +4. The signage was to the left of the number. Okay, we have that 4x. Okay, we didn't have a signage, but if they did, it will be to the left of the number. So what we actually have here is we need to move this 5 over to the right hand side. So what we do, we have a positive 5, so we need to do the inverse, which is -5. Okay, whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you do to the other. So now here, you have 5 minus 5, which gives us 0. But this is the other area that people generally make the mistake. When you bring down your x, you forget to bring down its negative. This is where a lot of people get screwed up. Because if you just brought down the x and you went ahead and you subtracted 12 and the 5, you will get a positive 7. But there is a negative that's associated that needs to come down. So now we have a negative x, but we don't want to know what negative x is. We want to know what x is. So what's assumed to be in front, or basically in between that negative sign and the x? It's assumed to be a 1. Okay, remember we talked about that? Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said a lot of people generally get that messed up. So we make the corrections. So in order for me to get x by itself, I need to divide both sides by this -1. And why am I dividing? Because -1x, since there's no plus or minus sign in between the -1 and the x, that's multiplication. So -1 divided by -1, that gives me a +1. A negative divided by a negative, when the signs are the same with multiplication and division, your answer is always going to be positive. And then the 7 divided by -1 will give me a -7. Okay? Alright. You see this, right? You're learning. Good. Alright? So it's important. Like, oh, is it really important with the positive and the negatives? Yes. There's a difference between making money and being broke as hell. Owing everybody, running for your life, there is no saving grace. Okay? So they have to understand, we want to make money. Okay, we want to make sure that our signs are correct. Okay? All right. So we can plug it back in to check. Of course. So if you had your -7, replacing your x. But you have to remember, a negative times a negative will turn into a positive. A lot of people will substitute the 7 in. It's not the 7 that's taking the place of the x, it's the -7. All right. Brings back memory. Got them right surprisingly. Good. Be alive every day? Yes. Okay, good. All right. So yes, for those that are coming in, my name is Audrey Codner. I'm the owner of Math by Audrey. And I have a lot of instructional videos as well as books. The main one is called Algebra at Your Pace. It's a workbook designed for GED, ASVAB, TEAS test, and Accuplacer. So if you like all of these are found in my third, if I can pull it out, my third concept with the solving equations. So what I'm doing today is going through the evolution of solving equations. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. But then you can scan the QR code. You will get the video instruction. So it gives you a place to write notes. But also, after you do your notes and do your practice, you got extra practice problems. And at the end of every book, you get a quiz and also the areas that a lot of people skip. So a lot of the reference pages as well. Okay, just to help you along the way. Okay, because I really want you to be able to advance and to grow. And I also have a sale that's actually going to end at 11:59 tonight, where you can get all 3 of my first 3 books for $22. There's it, and it's a digital copy. All right. Now, let's do some more 2-step questions. I know everybody's like, oh, she's selling something, I'm out. Of course. We think everything's going to be free? Oh, welcome to capitalism. What's going on? All right, so let's try this example. Let's try this one. So we got -8 plus x over 4 equals 6. All right. So if I were to solve this, this is where a lot of people say, I'm stuck. The reason why you say you're stuck is because right here, you see a fraction. And as soon as you see a fraction, you immediately want to shut down, right? You're like, nope, can't do this one, okay? So now, we have our isolation. Remember, the goal, okay, this is what the last one looked like. So the goal is to isolate the variable. No matter how we try to expand on these equations, your goal is to isolate the variable, and we're going to use the inverses. All right? Now, we want to keep this x over 4. We're not touching that. But in order for this to be by itself on the left-hand side, what needs to go? You're so welcome, Sherry. What needs to go? What needs to move? So in order for x minus 4 to be by itself on this side of the equal sign, what needs to go? Okay, Caitlin, I see you. Oh, Michelle, to answer your question, with your -1x, that's multiplication. That's not addition. So you're not adding 1. You're dividing the -1 on both sides. So we can isolate that x. Okay? All right, so we got our negatives 8. Thank you, Daphne. Thank you, Shan. Okay, thank you, Cam. Okay, Kathy, I see you. 2X, I see you. Cam, I see you again. Okay, Sharon, thank you for your honesty. All right, so we need to get rid of this negative 8. Okay, you're so welcome. All right, so that's right, father of 3. We need to do the inverse. Okay, so in order for us to get rid of this negative 8, so this x over 4 can be by itself on this side of the equal sign, we have to do its inverse, which is add 8. So you're going to add 8 here, and you're going to add 8 here. Whatever you do on one side of the equal sign, you do for the other. So negative 8 plus 8, that will give us our 0. And we don't need the 0 as a placeholder because we already have our x over 4. Okay, bring down the equals. And now we can combine the 6 and the 8, which gives us our 14. Okay, good. 2x, I see you. All right. This math on a Saturday morning? You. Because you're here. And obviously 130 other people. All right, so we have x over 4 is equal to 14. This is division. What should I do next so we can reach our goal of getting x by itself? Okay. All right. Riz, I got you. Father of 3, got you. Caitlin, I got you. Is that Maureen? Got you. So I got you. Miss Trez. Okay. Lovely Bones. Okay. We're not going to do foil. Not going to do foil blazing cookie. Because foil is only when you do multiplying polynomials. So we are going to do the inverse of division, which is multiplication. And what are we going to multiply? Whatever our denominator is, which is a 4 in this case. Not the 14, the 4. Because remember what we're trying to do. We're trying to get x by itself on this side of the equal sign. So when we do 4 divided by 4, that gives us a 1x. So 1x and x means exactly the same thing. Bring down the equal sign. Now over here we got 14 times 4. So 4 times 4 gives me 16. Carry the 1. Then we have 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So it's not giving me a fraction. Okay. So that's one way of doing it. But I notice some people probably did this and made it into a proportion. And there's nothing wrong with that either. So like you have that 14 equal 14, you could put that 14 over 1. Because anything divided by 1 is going to be itself. And if you wanted to, I think they call it butterfly wings, as some schools will do, they would do what's called cross multiply. So 1 times x will give us x. And then the 4 times 14 gives us the 56. Okay? 2 different approaches, but the same solution. Where did the 4 come from? From the denominator. So when you multiply on both sides to get it out of this fraction form, multiply, which is the opposite or the inverse of division, you're going to multiply the 4 on both sides. Okay? So it's not so much a fraction, it's going to give you a whole number. No, they're pushing it sooner, Spidey. They're pushing it sooner. So things that we used to think was like, you'll see it like in Algebra 2. We're not, nope. They're putting it in pre-algebra now. That's why a lot of our kids are confused. Because they're not ready. They're not ready. She wasn't ready. Like, they're not. Okay? Yep. Yep, the 4 came from the denominator. So think about when we did, well, I don't know when you came in, but when I did example number 3, we had the same thing of x over 5 equaled negative 3. And what we did was we multiplied both sides by whatever my denominator was. You're so welcome. I know, right? Hey, Mel. I know. Okay, so those are like mostly our 2-step equations. All right, I've been doing work, but if you have questions, please ask them, okay? This is a safe space. We'll see how much light I have because, again, we did have a lovely little storm earlier. So, and then my ring light decides not to work. All right, this is what you're talking about. All right, so let me show you this one. I know we're going through a lot of examples today because we're doing the evolution of solving equations. So I'm trying to show it in so many different ways that you're going to be like, oh, okay, this is not that treacherous. I can do this. Because if I can do this, you can do this. Trust me, I did not come out the womb like, oh yeah, math, this isn't easy. No. Far from it. All right. So now we have 2 times, okay, the difference of m and 5. And it equals 14. Okay? So you need a refresher? Trust and believe. Order my books, I'm telling you. It's going to take you right there. And instead of you just watching on TikTok, because right now you're watching for entertainment. You're like, oh, you're probably shocked that a person actually doing just breaking down math, and it's already shocking your system right now. And then when the live is over, you're going to go back to your cat videos, who got hit in the nuts, all kinds of craziness. All right, how many ways that you can shrink your body for summer, all that fun stuff. Okay, but then you will lose it. Because if you don't practice, as soon as you learn something, out the door it goes. So now here we are. We have 2 times m minus 5. So we can do this one of 2 ways. A lot of people would say, oh, well, you can do the distributive property. All right. So now you've gone from one form of solving to another. So if I wanted to, I could do distributive property. I'm going to show you another way as well. So now we have 2 times m, which is 2m. Okay. 2 times negative 5. You notice how I said that? Because once we start doing an operation, this is no longer a minus sign. And I think that's what confuses a lot of people. Treat this as a negative, and it's a negative not for the m, but for the 5. It's the signage for the 5. So a positive times a negative, when the signs are opposite, your answer is always going to be negative with multiplication or division. Now 2 times 5, that gives us 10. Okay, now we are bringing down my equals 14. All right, so now we need to get rid of this negative 10 because we want to get 2m by itself. Okay, we need to get that 2m by itself. Oh, I see you, Bucks. So we need to get rid of this minus 10. So how do I do minus 10? Get rid of it? Do its inverse, which is plus 10. Okay. Whatever you do on one side, you have to do to the other side. There you go. Thank you, Misha. How are you doing? So negative 10 and a positive 10, that will give me a 0. They cancel out. But I don't need that 0 as a placeholder because I still have this 2m that can come on down. So now I have my equals. Now I combine 14 and 10 to give us 24. All right. What should I do next? How did Misha get 12? What should we do next? Hey, Big Al, how are you doing? Okay, Mo saying divide. Lazala saying divide. Okay, divide by 2. Say I Tran. Sharon, I see you. Shan, I see you. G, I see you. Big Al, I see you. Evil Eyes, I see you. Misha, I see you. MS, I see you. Match Girl, I see you. SM, I see you. Dyslexia, maybe. Silk Doom, I see you. Simi, I see you. Good. John, I see you. Excellent, everyone. Okay. So we are dividing by what? We're dividing by 2. Because our goal is to get the variable by itself. So 2m, that's multiplication. Because between the 2 and the m, we don't see a plus or a minus sign. These cancel. So now your answer is m equals 12. Okay. All right, excellent. Treyway, I see you. Thank you. What pens am I using? Sharpies. Sharpie pens, Michelle. Yeah, I know I usually do pencils, but it shows up a lot clearer with the Sharpie pen. Now, like I said, there's 2 ways of doing this. Or there's more than one way of doing this, actually. But I like to show just 2. Now, this, if we do the distribution, this is what's called a multi-step equation. We can make this into a 2-step equation. Okay? So now let's take a look. We have 2 times this expression on one side of the equal sign. Alright, there's nothing else that's being added or subtracted to what's happening over here on the left-hand side. It's just 2 times this whole entire expression. So if I had this expression look like this, 2m, you'd be like, alright, just divide both sides by 2, Audrey. Why can't we carry that same philosophy here? So since it's 2 times, why not divide both sides by 2? Because then 2 divided by 2, that gives you 1. And 1 times anything is itself. So now we have 14 divided by 2, that gives me 7. So that was 1 step, right? Now we need to subtract. We need to add. We got to do its inverse. So we can get that m by itself. -5 and +5, that will give me 0. But we don't need that placeholder because we still have that m to bring down. Now we have 7 plus 5 gives you 12. Okay. Well, thank you, Joint Pain. All right. Okay. So, Sheer, thank you for your comment, but this is a safe space. Okay. I love how you say it's for 10 and 12-year-olds. Maybe, but here's the thing. There's a lot of people that had to sacrifice their schooling for whatever reason. Maybe they had to leave school because they had to take care of their younger siblings. Maybe there was a death in the family and they had to be the parent. Maybe a lot of people had to leave school because their parents or parent had to keep moving in order to find a safe space for their children. So I take that into account. And it's not a matter of, oh, we're doing kid stuff. This is a safe space. So if this is too much for you, you don't have to stay here. I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate that you felt that you need to say something. But I do this slow and precise because I know a lot of us are dealing with math trauma. When we were younger, we didn't understand it, and we didn't want to be that kid that says, I need to see one more example. Okay? All right? So, we're going through it step by step. All right? All right, so for the second one, you're going from multi-step to a two-step. So noticing I multiply the 2 with this whole expression, m minus 5. So if this is multiplication, doing the inverse is division. So divide both sides by 2. So we have that division, 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. That means we can bring down our m minus 5. Now, we just need to get m by itself. You added 5 on both sides, and it gave you your 12. Okay? All right? Yes. So, again, if you need more practice with these, this is why I have my books. Do not just rely on these lives. Okay? It's great to see it. It's great that you're experiencing it. But now, let me show you the other end of the spectrum. So you're like, all right, cool, I found a new way. I can do that easily. Then here comes Audrey. She's going to like mess it up. I don't know about mess it up, but I'm going to have you thinking. I really want you to think. Okay? Because ladies and gentlemen, you can definitely get it done. But you need to practice. You need to go beyond just watching my lives or watching other people's lives. And I know it gets confusing because one person does it one way, another person does it another way. Now, if I may do a little comparison, other than what's inside the parenthesis, okay, other than what's inside the parenthesis, if I can compare, what else is different from example 6 to 7? What else is different? Okay, other than what's inside the parentheses, what else is different? Hey Brenda, how are you? Okay, Blazing, you trying to improve your ASVAT score? Excellent, this will definitely help out. A whole number out, okay? So Big Al saying with adding the 6, okay? There's an extra number in the equation. Thank you, Mel. All right. So that -6, yes, beat and teach. I don't know what your name beat and teach. Are we beating the children? All right, I'm going to teach you something today. Got to break them down to build them up, Audrey. All right, I got you. All right, so you're trying to combine like terms. All right. So we can do this, but here's my thing. We can't just go right into that little shortcut that I showed you earlier. We can't go right into dividing the 2 on both sides. The reason why we have this -6 that's in the way. So why not, Apple user, I see you, why not combine our like terms? So instead of doing the distributive property, let's move this -6. Let's push that 6 over to the other side of the equal sign. So how we can do that? Do the inverse. So we're going to add 6 on both sides. Okay? So that will be my first step. So -6 and +6, they give me 0. They cancel out. So what I bring down is my 2, my 3x plus 4, and that's going to equal the summation of 14 and 6, which gives us 20. Okay, all right, good. I'm starting to see some answers, which is awesome. Let's still keep taking it step by step. So now I'm going to cover up this first part. So we're going to train the brain, focus on the next step and the next step only. So what we did in the past is in the past. Okay? I got a past too. Whatever I did in the past is in the past. I'm not saying I was in the Freaknik video, but I was around there. But anyway, so instead of multiplying the 2 to everything, which we could, you're going to get the same answer. But why not do that division? Because it's the 2 times the 3x plus 4. So let's get rid of this 2. Let's divide both sides by 2. So then we have 2 divided by 2. That gives me 1. And 1 times anything is itself. So we have our 3x plus 4. That's going to come on down. And then our 20 divided by 2. That gives us 10. There you go, OG. I see you. You using that line? Okay. All right. Okay. All right, Lee. That's good. I don't know how you're saying that we don't use algebra. How'd you get up this morning? So we have 3x plus 4 equals 10. So now we're going to focus on that. So now, yeah, so we're going to subtract this 4 on both sides. All right. All right, so we have a positive 4 and a negative 4. So that gives me my 0. But we're not using the placeholder because we still have the 3x is equal to, now we do the summarization, or the difference actually, of 10 and 4, which gives us 6. Okay, notice how we started wide and it starts to filter narrow. Okay, that's what we're doing. So now we have our 3x is equal to 6, and I'm not going to insult your intelligence, because you guys know that if I divide both sides by 3, that means x is going to equal 2. Alright, so x is going to equal 2. 12x? Where are we getting 12x from? Okay, just gonna take a look. Alright, so our first thing, raise up a little bit. Our first thing is we got rid of the 6, so we can isolate our multiplication. It's almost like PEMDAS in reverse. You ever notice that? So sometimes like people would be like, alright, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. But when you are simplifying expressions, you follow this rate. But if you notice you're solving, it goes kind of like this way. Because we did addition or subtraction. Boom, that's what we did. Then we have multiplication or division. Boom, that's what we did. Okay, we didn't have any exponents, but then we finished off with our solving. It's kind of crazy. Okay. Why couldn't it be 6x plus 8 minus 6? You can do that. That's the distributive property. Yep, you can do the same thing, and that'll be distributive property. So like if I rewrote, you can have 2 times 3x plus 4 minus 6 equals 14. Remember guys, there's more than one way of solving. You can do the distributive property. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's your comfort, that's your comfort. So you have your 6x plus 8 minus 6 equals 14. Then you have your like terms right here. Notice the 6 and the 8 are on the same side of the equal sign. Combine them. Don't be afraid. It's okay. Combine them. That's a positive 8. That's a negative 6. So if I have $8 and I spent 6 of them, That means I have $2 left. Everything else comes on down. And since that's a positive answer, put the plus sign in front. So you can bring down the 6x. And then from here, I need to subtract the 2. So positive 2 and negative 2, they cancel out to give you 0, but we don't need the 0 because we still have the 6x to bring down. And now you got your 14 minus 2, that gives you 12. And if we divide both sides by 6, you're going to get your answer of x equals 2. Okay. All right. Exactly, OG. Thank you. Either way, you're going to get the same answer. Okay. 2 different ways, same solution. So when it comes to the SAT, the ACT, your GED, or however they're naming the high school equivalency test, your ASVAT test, do the way that suits you. So now you have a choice. You could either do the isolation and then do the division, or you can do the distribution and combining your like terms to solve. Okay? All things. Right? Okay? So if you do substitute, you're just substituting for checking, because this is not system of equations. Both of them are the same equation. Okay? Both of them are the same equations. Okay? Alright. Again, if you feel that you need more practice with these, I do have exams and practice tests that you can use. Now, I have 2 more problems I want to do, and they're a little bit more intensive. Just a hair intensive. Okay? Just a hair. Just a hair. But we have to go through in order for us to grow. We can't just keep doing the same easy problems that you know. That's not learning. That's memorizing. Okay? There is a major difference. Oops. Drop that down. Okay? So, just remain calm. She's like, I know how you guys get. I'm not doing it. I'm out. No, you're not out. It's okay. You can tell it's the weekend because I'm doing example 8. All right, so we have 6 times k plus 2 minus 10. Okay, not too bad. Equals 4k plus 2. Oh, Audrey, you're trying to kill me. No, I'm not. Okay? No, you're not. You're already scared. You're not scared. It's not a word problem, Mel, so you can't be scared. All right? OG. But see, here's my thing. I know you're feeling a little overwhelmed. Maybe some of you are like, I don't know where to start. Okay? You're like, okay. Or it's just because there's a lot added. It's the same process. Okay? The goal is to get the variable by itself. Now I'm going to give you this short heads up. You won't be able to use that shortcut of dividing the 6 to both sides. Reason being is I don't have just a number over here. Okay? This time I have an expression over here. So the distributive property will be your best. Yes, Fritz Prime. Okay? Yay, how are you? Good morning. All right? So doing the distributive property will be your best bet. Let's take it step by step. So you see the 6? We're going to distribute that 6 to everything inside of the parenthesis. Okay? We don't have any other distributions that's going on. That's the first one. So when we solve that, yes, almost there, John. Okay? We don't have to have the equals of 6. Get rid of the equals part, then you got that. So 6 times k gives me 6k. And there's a positive 6 times a positive 2. That gives me a positive 12. Okay, so we're good with that. Good. Now, we're going to bring down everything else. So we got our minus 10, we have our equals, and we have our 4k plus 2. Okay? So now, always take a look to see if there's anything in common. Because if you notice, we have a variable on both sides of the equal sign. We need to have our variables combined on one of either side. So we're either going to put our k's on the left-hand side, or we're going to put our k's to the right-hand side. But before we make that decision, take a look. Do we have any like terms that we can combine on this left-hand side? Okay, the left. What can I combine? How'd I get 12, Jackie? 6 times 2. Okay. Yes, okay. I see Big Al, I see Meech, I see SM, I see Killswitch. I see Claudio, I see April, I see Michelle, I see Theo, MT, Word, Tay. There was someone else I see. Ladybug, so sorry. Andy, I'm so sorry. Brent, I just skipped everybody. Okay. Mauve, I see you. Mauve Clips, I see you. Brenda, I see you. Alright, Jackie, I see you. So, we are combining the 12 minus the 10. Those are like terms. So that means we have our 6k that we're bringing down. We have a positive 12 and a negative 10. So positive 12, you have $12, you spent 10. That means you have positive 2. So you have $2 left over. Alright, good one. Thank you. So now I'm looking over, bring down my equal sign, and like we said over here, we have 4k plus 2. There's nothing over here that we can combine. So if we can't combine it, if we can't break it down, we bring it down. Alright, so now, all this mass confusion in the beginning, we're going to cover it up. Now you're training your brain to focus at the last line. We have 6k here, we have 4k there. Now, I'm going to tell you the God honest truth. You are the one to decide where do you want to put your k. Okay? A lot of people, when they make the decision, they said, oh, well, I want to put my k's over here because 6 is bigger than 4. Okay, we can do that. Some people will say, you know what, I like having my k's to my right as opposed to my left because I feel rebellious. Alright, fine. But you decide which one, which way. So I'm going to move my k's over to the left. So I'm looking at this 4k. It's a positive 4k, not because of this plus sign. This plus sign is associated with the 2, not the 4. So I have to do its inverse, which is minus 4k. When you write it, please don't forget the k. Because if you just write minus 4, and if some people's handwriting, you're just like, blah, blah, just putting stuff around there, you will think, oh, negative 4 plus 2, then you get a negative 2, you bring down 6k, everything is all kinds of screwed up. Okay? Do not forget about the variable. So now we have 6k minus 4k, that gives me 2k. And then I can bring down my plus 2, bring down my equals, and the other 2 that's left on the right side. So now, We need to get k by itself. Almost. Careful. Visualize. But we need to move this 2 over to this 2. So that means we are subtracting 2. Okay, so it's not going to be a 1. We're not dividing, we're subtracting. Okay, so we have our 2k is equal to, there you go, there it is, it's equal to 0. Now, this is the appropriate time for us to make this 0 because there's nothing else over here to come down. So we need that 0 as a placeholder right here. Now, from this part right here, if I was taking the test, I know that anything times 0 is going to equal to 0. So I know that my answer is going to be 0. But for me to show, I would divide both sides by 2. And 2 divided by 2 will give me my 1k, or just k. And 0 divided by anything is 0. So the unknown number to make this original equation into a true statement is going to be 0. Alright? So there's times that we can see it, but make sure you're the one that's training your brain, not the other way around. Okay? So notice how it funnels down to your answer. We're breaking things down. We're doing inverse operations so we can get to it. Yep, that was a lot. Yes. Something like this on the GED, that will be considered like a 3-point question. This will be a 3-point question. Most of your 4-point questions deal with slope, the equation of the line, graphing an equation of the line, doing a system of equations, system of inequalities, factoring, finding volume, surface area, okay, some word problems that give you a little intensive. Those are your 4-point questions, okay? All right, it's making sense? All right, good. Now, our last question, okay? Any other questions before I move on? All right, well, thank you, Skin Neck. Appreciate that. I know once you see this, you're going to have a mini freak out, but you're going to be all right. Because you know what? Because I'm here. Why do you guys think I'm just going to give you a hard question and leave? Just dip out like, well, all right, going to Mexico. Bye. No. All right. It's not going to be a hard question. Let's leave on a good note. Challenge slightly, but we're going to leave on a good note. I'm going to leave on a good note. All right. So I'm purposely, I know, I'm being really evil. Because when I say I'm going to give you a hard question, I know your heart rate went up in a heartbeat. I know your heart rate went up. But that's what happens when you do the testing. The time, you got a time factor that's going against you. Okay, you don't know what the questions are going to be. So you're going to set yourself in a situation where like, all right, I'm about to panic. But then when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's not too long, Audrey. The other one was longer. Notice how your heart rate went down a little bit? Even though you saw a fraction, but your heart rate went down a little bit because you're like, all right, it's not like 28 million steps. But the way you break this down is similar to what we've been doing. The goal is the same. We want to get x by itself. Okay? So Andrew, I see you. What should I do first? Think about how we were isolating variables before. What should I do first? Put that into the chat. Okay, Fritz, how did you get that? Okay. User, I see you. Big Al, I see you. Okay, Barry, thank you. Okay, Big Al, thank you. All right. Okay, you're happy. Hey, hi, how are you doing? Thank you. Vegan, thank you. All right, Mel, thank you. I see you. John, I see you. MT, I see you. All right. So first thing we want to get rid of is this positive 6. Let's move it over to the other side. When you go to the other side, no, Travis, there's no exponents. Okay, Jackie, I got you. So when you're going to the other side, don't let the fractions freak you out. We're going to do the opposite of plus 6, which is minus 6. Okay? Because I think this is what always, like, how do I start? Start with the number that has no association with the x. That might help you. Okay? Always start with your, what they call your constant. So start there. Because now we got a plus 6 and a minus 6. That cancels out to give me a 0. But I don't need the 0 because I still have this 2/5 x to bring down. And then I can combine the -2 and the -6, which, when the signs are the same, listen to how I say it. -2 plus -6. I am combining them. Where you're combining, you're adding, and you're taking the signage. So since they're both negative, you're going to add them together. That's where the -8 comes from. So like if I loaned you $2 and for some sick and twisted reason I loaned you another $6, that means you owe me $8. I ain't forget about the $2. Okay? It's the $8. So since you owe me, that's why it's negative. Okay? Nope. What we're going to do next, yes, Barry, what we're going to do next is the inverse of 2/5. Think about it. 2/5 is division. Okay? You need a second job. Okay? So 2/5 is division. So we need to do the opposite of division, which is multiplication. And what are we going to multiply on both sides? Think about what we were doing. We could do the reciprocal, but I want to do it step by step. Jay, I appreciate you. Okay? Fritz, I see you. Lucky Wife, I see you. Big Al, I see you. Ada, I see you. Ladybug, I see you. MT, I see you. Miller, hey Miller, how are you doing? I see you. Fritz, I see you. Sharon, I see you. Barry, I see you. Okay, E-Haze, thank you so much. Okay, all right. We could do the reciprocal, seasoned spaghetti, because you are going to get the same answer, but I want to do it step by step, just for those that are like trying to warm up. Okay, all right. So now I multiply both sides by 5. Always multiply both sides by whatever your denominator is. So what happens? The 5s will cancel out. But what's left over here? What's left is a 2 and an x. So guess what? We can bring down that 2 and the x. Sorry, lost my pen. Alright, so we're just going to do this. Okay. So it's not so much getting the multiplication of the 5/2 to get the x by itself that freaks people out. It's what happens on the right-hand side. So that's what I'm saying. Okay, good, Barry. So now we have -8 and 5. So that gives me a -40. So now this looks familiar. So we have 2x is equal to -40. 2x is 2 times x. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. So 2 divided by 2, that gives me 1x, or just x. And a negative divided by a positive, when the signs are opposite with multiplication or division, your answer is always going to be negative. And then 40 divided by 2, half of 40 is 20. So your x is equal to negative 20. Okay. What is GAT? I'm not sure what a GAT is. We did it. Yeah. What's a GAT? Because every state, every district mentions things in different ways. Now, as some people, when we were getting to this part, oh, well, I don't know. I'm from the U.S. I was like, I don't know. You telling me, asking me stuff? I've never been to Saudi Arabia. But if they do the same math, which they do, because math is math no matter where you go, when we got to this part, oops, some people were saying, well, couldn't we just multiply? No problem. But it's in English? Okay. But if they do have these concepts, you can use them. Okay? So some people are saying that when we got to this part, which was after we subtracted the 6 and we got to the 2/5 x equals negative 8, we simplified. We tried another way of getting x by itself. You can multiply by what's called the reciprocal. So I like to show both ways. Okay? So in order for me to cancel out the 2/5, I have to flip it, which will be 5/2. Whatever I do on one side, I can do on the other. So what happens on the left-hand side? Let me put this here. So what happens on the left-hand side is noticing I have a 5 in the numerator and a 5 in the denominator. They can cancel out. That will give me 1. I have a 2 in the numerator and a 2 in the denominator. They can cancel out. And that will give me 1. So what's left will simply be an x. But when we go to the right side, this is the part that freaks a lot of people out. Okay? But this is what you can do. When we're used to multiplying a whole number with a fraction, we kind of make that whole number into a fraction by putting it over 1. You're not devaluing the 8, you're just making it simpler to see your fraction. So from here, you can do one of two ways. You could multiply the numerator, multiply the denominator to get a negative 40 over 2, and then you reduce it. Or you can do what's called cross simplify. There you go, Barry. You can do what's called cross simplify. There is not an equal sign in between. When there's an equal sign in between two ratios or two fractions, that's cross multiplying. When there isn't an equal sign, it's called cross simplifying. So negative 8 divided by 2, that will give me a negative 4. Okay? Then what's left when you cross? You know, you got your 5 divided by 1, that will leave you with 5. So negative 4 times 5 gives you a negative 20. So either you can multiply straight across, then do your division, or you can cross simplify and then do your multiplication. Okay? Don't forget the negative, Sharon. All right? Okay? So you get the same answer. Two slight 3 different approaches, but you get the same answer. You have to pick the way that you feel comfortable with. All right. So knowing that, how should I put this? When you're taking any kind of standardized test, all they really care about is, did you pick A, B, C, or D? Okay? Did you pick the right answer? When you're in the classroom, your teacher wants to see your steps because you're learning it. They want to see, are they understanding the process? Standardized tests, they're assuming that you already know the process. So prove to us that you know this. Okay, that's why it's a different way of testing. And a lot of people don't think that. They think that you're going to be able to test the same exact way. Okay? Kind of sound like Michael Jackson? Well, we're both black, so maybe. No. The things that comes here. All right? So, again, a lot of these questions, way that I do things step by step, all right, come from my book. The person that asked to see the top one, did you see it? You saw the question? Okay. So it comes from my books. Okay. It's a 10-book series. Algebra at Your Pace. This gives you that consistency. Once you scan the QR code in the very beginning, you will get a list of videos of me breaking down each and every one of these concepts. So then you can write down your notes. There's practice problems in the videos as well as the extra practice problems that's in the books. And at the end, you're given a quiz. Okay? Sometimes it's like this book has like a 13-question quiz just to reiterate that you understand the concepts. And I also give you reference pages. Okay? Remember the rules of integers? If you're still a little screwy with that, that's fine. I got you. All of this is in color. All right? If you have the order of operations, we have properties of exponents. We're looking at the different list of the squares, the square roots, the cube roots. So all of these reminders. But what I did also with this book 3 is I gave you flashcards. Huh, that looks familiar. Because we just did it. All right, so I call these my matching cards. So you get to practice how to do the solving, and then you try to match its answers. Okay? Well, thank you, Japheth. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love. All right, and of course, I'm going to have an answer key for you so you can figure out, and this is what we did. So you know which is going to be for which. So this is something that you can probably just make copies of. You can make it as an activity for your students. It's great for homeschool. It's great for everybody. People that are going to go into high school and you're just like, ooh, my child needs a refresher. Or I need a refresher because I'm sick and tired of not passing this damn ASVAT test. And all, whatever you want to say, insert whatever language you want to do. It's not Sunday, so here we go. But you still should watch it. But this is one thing that I do have. These 3 volumes. The first volume, it takes it straight to the integers, the different types of numbers, decimals, fractions, percent, okay, exponents as well as exponents. We also have square roots, breaking those concepts down, right? Same concepts. Volume 2, we take it a step further. Some of the questions that I have is more with word problems, like you will see in the arithmetic reasoning for the ASVAT, and also you will see with your GED. Okay? So if anything, you have all of your functions, your factors, your divisibility rules, trying to get with ratios and proportions, as well as order of operations. That's why it's thicker than a Snicker. Okay? And then I also give you extra practice with order of operations, the same type of cards. Okay? All of this, everything, plus the solving equations. So you're solving 1-step, 2-step, multi-step equations, equations with like terms. Okay, looking at the properties of numbers and number lines. And then also your multi-step equations. Okay, also with answer key. If you want, you can get all 3 books as a digital copy via my stand store, which I'll show you where to get that, for $22. The sale ends tonight at 11:59. Okay, for 22 smackaroos. So where can you get it? If you go to my profile, let me straighten this out a little bit. If you go to my profile, then you go to my link, which it says Stand Store. You just click on that. Then, if you scroll up, here's one thing that you can take advantage of. Here's a free math check. If you're saying, well, Audrey, I know my check. The math ain't mathing. But it gives you something else. But if you really want, you have the tutoring, but this is where you go for the back to school math starter. So when you have this, it's just like a refresher. When you click on the button, this is what shows up. So you can take a look, see who it's perfect for, okay, why you're going to love it. And then as you keep scrolling, if you're interested in it, just keep scrolling, and then that's where you can put your details. All right? So all the way at the bottom. And what this is a digital copy. Okay, you're going to get a digital copy of everything in volume 1. So volume 1 as the book is the same as the digital copy. So there's nothing different. The flashcards at the end, which was the exponents, is there as well. Okay, volume 2 exactly the same, volume 3 exactly the same, but you're getting a digital PDF. Okay, so it's your downloadable e-version, and it's for $22. So you get 3 books of me, not necessarily tutoring, but breaking all this stuff down, so now you can be able to apply it. The reason why a lot of you guys do very well when you see the video and then you try to do it yourself and you're like, what did she say? I forgot. I don't, oh my God, what did she say? And then you're torturing yourself for like 10 minutes. Instead, learn it. Now you can apply it. Sure. So if I go all the way back, if you go to my profile, okay, Math by Audrey, and then you have my one link that's right here where it says Stand Store Math by Audrey. Just follow the little finger down. Just click on that and it'll take you directly to my Stand Store. Okay, you can go ahead and scroll. Now here's another thing, because I like to give things to people, because I'm a giver, I guess. I have all of my replays on YouTube. So this one, since we're rolling on what, an hour and 22, it might take me some time. But if you click on that button in between Facebook and LinkedIn, you will find my YouTube channel. Okay, you can go ahead and subscribe. I know I said it. Sorry, YT. Okay, and if you scroll all the way down, you see where it says TikTok Lives Uncut. So I put all of my replays here. Okay, go ahead and subscribe to it. But remember, I go from point to point to point to point. It's never consistent. Okay, it's never consistent. But if you want something consistent, if you don't understand the distributive property, we need to go back. Okay, if you don't understand how to do fractions, we need to go back. And this is the reason why I do this. Okay. All right. So Chippy Dippy, this is not the place. Okay. All right. Yep, this would be perfect for people that's going to the 7th and 8th grade, because I currently have a lot of my former clients using it so they can have a better understanding. And then the book that I'm using, I created this too. You're like, what? This is my ultimate math notebook. So what I do, okay, different covers for everything, but you can find these on the A as well. If you go all the way to the bottom of my Stand Store, you will actually see a link. Let me go up to this. So if I go all the way to the bottom of my Stand Store, you will say physical books on the A. That's what I mean by the A. So if you click on that, it will take you to a page on my website that goes with all of the Algebra at Your Pace. If you want to see the inside of the book, just go ahead and click on this video that I made so you'll have a good idea of what it looks like. And I always say, before you buy, if you have any questions, ask. Alright? So then when it comes down to it, you can scroll up and you can read what each of the volume books are. But because we're buying it through the A, it costs more to have color ink, and it also costs more after a certain number of pages. And like I said, these books are thicker than a Snicker. Alright? But if you want the digital copy, the individual digital copy is half of that. It's $12.99. Okay? So the digital copy, you can say, all right, I got 3 kids. You pay for the digital copy, you make 3 copies. Use your brain. Like, as long as you're not selling it to someone else to make money off of it, and just helping you with you to cover as many children as you can. And if your kids are more advanced, and you're just like, okay, I got one kid that needs like the very first book. I got another kid, I think he's good with solving equation. He could start the 3rd book. And if you want, you can get all of my books, all of my videos, because let me show you one thing. So if you want the complete book series, if you want all of my books, that includes some practice books, because you need to practice the way that you're going to test. You can get all those for $115. But then I advanced that. If you want all of my books, like every book that I have, okay, including the practice books, I added what's called the video. I have a video library, okay? All right, so with the video library, you can get all the answer keys or all the answers, a video recording of me doing all the answers. Okay? That's for $157. That's the ultimate. Okay? Hey, Ambler. How are you? Okay? So that's the ultimate. So if you want all of my stuff with a video answer key, with me breaking down step by step like I did here for our sample problems, that's going to be $157. Okay, so that's the complete system. And that will help you not only for reviewing, that will help you for people that are taking the exams. It will help for, incoming freshmen, just to get them ready with math. Because there's some teachers that are going to be like, all right, let's get to know our kids. Or there's going to be teachers like how I was in the classroom. We'll get to know each other as we go on. You have homework tonight. Because you don't really have that much time. All right. So the physical books are on the A, and they're $24.99. The digital books are $12.99 each. Okay, unless you get yourself one of the starters, which takes it up a little bit. If you're not sure where to start, we do have a starter system at $42. But today, ending today, let me show you what it is this back to school starter. This is where you get volume 1, 2, and 3 for $22 for the digital copy. So everything that's in those 3 books is there. Okay? All right. Okay. Questions. All right. So if you want the math notebooks, I designed this particularly just for math students. Because if you notice, a lot of notebooks are not designed for math. Okay? So you want the physical books? Yes. So if you go all the way down the stand store, you'll see where it says physical book, and you can order it. You can definitely order it straight from the A. All right. So with all the books, this is one of the things I like with factoring, which we're going to do some more factoring later on today. So it gives you not only a place for you to practice, it gives you your formula, it gives you a place for you to write your steps. Okay? So, and at the very back, because this is for my Algebra 2 and pre-calc kids, on the very back, you'll notice I give you some reference pages. So some of the things that they're going to need throughout the year. So we have our factoring pages. Most factor charts go up to 100. Mine goes up to 200 because you're dealing with higher numbers when you're doing advanced math. So I have the factor charts, talked about the conjugates, okay, complex numbers, did the whole square roots, and cubes, trying to figure those things out quicker. Then also fraction operation. Then we had some conversions, okay? Then the rules of integers if they forget. Then for word problems, we have operation and terminology. So a lot of these things are here and ready for you because this is why you're doing it. Introducing the Math by Audrey Learning Tree. This is the reason why we're struggling. Okay? Yep, personal tutor. Yes, I am. Showing on notebook. Is notebook you show on notebook? Try again, Travis. So the notebook I'm showing, this is on the A as well. So this one is for Algebra 2 and pre-calculus. But then I have my red one. This one is for basically pre-algebra, algebra 1. Okay? And you can use those because the reference pages are slightly different. Okay, got the factor chart, got the rulings. So this really hits hard with some of the Algebra 1 components and some of the geometric components. Okay, not all of it, but some. And I used to do brain breaks. Okay, alright. So, if your person is going into Algebra 1, this is the book for them. If your person is going into, say, Algebra 2 or pre-calculus, especially pre-calc, this is the book for them. Okay, for the notebooks. Alright, yep. And you can purchase those on the A. So this is why we're doing this. We need to build up our math foundation. Okay, we need that. Because when we're planted into the schools, we didn't get to choose what school we wanted to go to, like as a student. No, parents just told you where you're going to go. No one told you what teacher you're going to get and what curriculum. You had no choice in the curriculum and the teacher that you had early on. But because we needed to build up our roots, okay? If you went to a school that you had several different teachers in 1 year, that you had constantly, you were sick or you weren't in school, your roots weren't so strong. So that means you're adding, you're subtracting, multiplying, dividing, fractions, decimals, percents. They're going to be weak. Now, it doesn't mean that a tree's not going to grow. But guess what? When it comes time for you to do into algebra, this is not going to be as strong. You're going to be one of those trees that if it blows a little too hard or have some kind of adversity, you're going to bend. All right? But we want you strong. We want you to straighten up. Because then when you have a strong sense of algebra, now you can go into the other branches of mathematics. Okay? You can look at trig. You can do algebra 2. You can do geometry, pre-calculus, calculus, statistics, and maybe even college math or anything beyond. But we have to get our algebra nice and strong. So guess what? You don't always have to be weak in it. We can always transport you as a tree into a well nurturing, supportive soil. So now you can grow. So then when you have all the feed, all the food that you need, all the nutrients, the sun, everything that you need to make your roots stronger, it will grow. And then you will have a solid trunk. All right? So you can have lots of branches. Okay? My tree is very weak. Al, you think your tree is very weak, but it's not. I've seen you improve. Like, you've been on my live for I want to say a few months, right? Maybe not even a year yet. But every time you come, you're getting stronger and stronger. So I don't think yours is weak. We're just building it up. To about you as soon as I can. Okay, I have availability. Yes, I do. So if you want me as a tutor, or if you have any questions about any of my resources, please message me. Go ahead, hit the picture in my profile. Let me talk to you like a normal person instead of over here. Hi, how you doing? All right, so go ahead in my profile pic. Go ahead and send me a message. Don't just say hi. Tell me what test you're taking. Maybe a little bit of like what you've been doing, maybe what was your recent practice score, whatever it is, okay? If you're taking the ASVAT, your goal is to get this, but last time I took the test, I got this. I've helped people that came to me that got a 2 on the ASVAT. And after we worked for a little bit and they really took on the initiative and started working themselves, one got a 61, another one got a 54, and there's one girl, she was a beast anyway. She just needed confidence. She got a 96. I was like, all right, awesome. So it's all depend on how much work you want to put into it. So I'm here. I'm here for that support. But I do need to get going. All right? Yes. So that's one thing. So if you need the assistance, please do not hesitate to ask. I will definitely be on this afternoon unless there's a crazy storm that knocks my power out. I think I'm going to be doing a little more with factoring so we can really understand the concept, especially when your leading coefficient is not 1. I have a little take on it. It's probably not going to be a super long live, but I really want you to understand that concept because that's a 4-point question for the GED. We're not giving up any more 4-point questions, okay? That's the reason why a lot of you guys are really like around 12 points away or less. It's all because you keep skipping those 4-point questions. Stop. We just need 3 of them. If we can get 3 of those 4-point questions done and done well, and you do pretty decent with the arithmetic part, you're going to pass. That's how they organize it. How do I know? I used to teach the class. How crazy, okay? All right, so please reach out to me. Let me know. I want to help you. I want this to be the time that you get it done, okay? Yes, I sell my information, but I sell it with intent for you to pass, okay? But you can come to the live. You can sign up on my YT channel to look at some of the videos. But if you want something that's going to be consistent, let's go ahead and do it. If you need something because you're like, Audrey, I got to take this test in about 2 weeks. The books are going to, like the practice books will help, but you need probably some tutoring, okay? Or maybe just some guidance, all right? So what time? That's the tricky part. So I'm probably shooting either 4 or 5 o'clock. Between 4 and 5. That's what I'm thinking about, okay? Give me enough time to, well, I was going to mow until it downpoured of rain, but give me enough time to get myself together with life. You know, laundry, vacuuming. It's too quiet. I don't know what the cats are doing. You know, life. Life just be life. Yes, Eastern Standard Time. Thank you. Okay, Blasian, thank you. All right. All right, everyone. I will see. I know, right? They're so crazy. They're so protective. They're probably outside the door just guarding the door like is someone coming in? I have no idea. But anyway, have a great morning. Make sure you get something nice. Treat yourself well. And I'll see you guys later on this afternoon. All right? Take care now. Bye.